Welcome to another episode of Purpose Today. I'm your host, Dr. April Dobson, and I'm very excited to have a very special guest on our show today, Charles Boateng. He is an author, he is a keynote speaker, the meaning maker, and the CEO of LionsMatrix, the ultimate growth matrix. You don't want to go anywhere. Stay right there for a power-packed episode of Purpose Today. Charles and I are going to talk about growth on purpose, strategies for meaningful self-growth. So we'll be right back after these sponsor messages. Purpose Today is brought to you by Purpose Today Global LLC and the Purpose Professionals community. If you're a professional who has a desire to be intentional about your career and aligning your career with your purpose, the Purpose Professionals community is for you. If you want to connect with other like-minded professionals, pivot to align with your purpose, or you're an entrepreneur who has a desire to ensure that your business is purpose aligned, join the Purpose Professionals community. The community has moved from school to its new platform. And to find the information on the Purpose Professionals community, view the chat for more information. Well, I'm very excited about this new episode of Purpose Today, and I am excited to bring a very special guest to the show. As I mentioned, Charles is the CEO of LionsMatrix, and I'm so excited to have him to the show today to talk about growth on purpose, strategies for meaningful self-growth. So welcome, Charles. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, April. I definitely appreciate this opportunity to share on growth and with the audience as well. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's a joy to have you here on Purpose Today. So I want to jump right in. I know I shared a little bit about you with our audience, but I would love it if you could please just share whatever you'd like to share about yourself with our viewers.
I think you said it all, but in brief, I'm Charles Kankam Boateng, the founder and CEO of LionsMatrix and TrueLead Foundation. My heart is really in building people, helping individuals, families, and communities rise into who they were created to be. Professionally, I've spent over a decade in the IT industry and consulting world, working with Fortune 500 companies like Delta and United Healthcare, among others. I've worked also in both the public sector and the private sectors. And so I say all of that to say that I've seen leadership in many forms, right? What works and what doesn't work. As far as my academic background, I hold an MBA. And over time, like you said, I've become known as the meaning maker, someone who helps people to find significance in life, in their story, in their gifts, in their journey, whether through my books, in my speeches, or even in simple conversations, right? So my mission statement I tell people is just to inspire humankind. Outside of work, I'm a husband and a father. I'm based here in Atlanta, Georgia, the best state in US, hands down. I love reading. I love hiking. I love exploring. And of course, podcasts like this, to share information, knowledge. And everything I do is centered around one thing. And, it's just all about lifting and empowering people and helping people to unlock their potential. So that's just a summary.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Charles, for that. You said so many things that I think we could unpack. And so one of the things that I want to talk about, you said, you want to help to empower people to reach their potential. And I know that we all have greatness locked on the inside of us. I believe we're all leaders. And, it's really important for us to discover our purpose, discover our potential. So what do you believe is something that viewers can do, if they know that there's more to who they are, but they want to ensure that they continue to grow, they continue to realize their potential. What is something that they can do to unlock that hidden potential on the inside of them?
Thank you so much for that question. Great question. I've always believed that people carry more, far more potential than they actually recognize, and that's the essence of Lions Matrix. Our main motto, our main mission is the ultimate growth matrix. It was born out of a desire to help people to unlock their potential, like you said, at every stage. I would say that one, you need self awareness, right? You need to be aware that you are not where you need to be. And that's what growth is all about, that we can rise to a better version of ourselves. And in order to get there, it will start with intentionality. You can't grow randomly, right? If you jump up, you will come back, right? So in order for you to grow, there has to be a gradual process. It has to be something that you are focused on doing. So just as I tell people, just as tiny seeds, they grow up to be big and giant trees, but they start as tiny seeds. Why am I saying this? You have to start small. You have to start from where you are. It's good to desire somebody who is, I would say, manifesting their highest form, right? Maybe you think you are not there yet, but start from where you are. And one thing I learned from Charlie Munger, I think somewhere 2007, he met with some law like students, and he was sharing the principles of success with them. I don't think I'm going to share anything new. It's the same thing you've heard over and over again, but do you put it to practice, right? And he said the same thing, that he has seen people constantly succeed. And it's not because they were the smartest. It's not because they were brilliant, more intelligent than anybody. But he says something, that they were learning, right? They have a habit of learning. And so the goal is to be able to go to bed a little wiser than you were in the morning. And if you're able to do that, that compounding effect, it's amazing. By the time you realize, you would be where you thought you could, but it's all about being intentional. So if you ask me about, oh, how do you grow? I would say you have to be focused. It starts with intentionality. It starts with intentionality. I know you are grand on purpose. And one of the things I tell people is that, look, the moment you, like, how do I say this? You need to know yourself, right? And if you don't know yourself, and if it takes locking up yourself in a room for 3 days, then do that until you find your purpose, right? Because there has to be something that you do that people praise you for it. People recognize that you have this special knack, you have this skill. Everybody does it, but when you do it, you give it a special touch. There should be something that should ring a bell. And I believe if you lock up yourself for at least 3 days, by the time you're out, you should be able to know who you are. When I say you
That's
are,
good.
your strengths that you can leverage on and grow from there to be who you are destined to be.
That's good. You've said so many great things that I want to unpack, and I know you shared in all of that. The inspiration for launching LionsMatrix was really to help people to fulfill their potential. And
Yes.
you just talked about being able to ensure that we know who we are, we know the strengths that we have. So, what are some of the things? What are some of the strategies that LionsMatrix uses to help people to discover their strengths and to grow?
Well, with that, you have to see me in chambers to kind of call our secrets out there. But for this podcast, I would say daily activities that are essential for growth, because growth, we like the idea of growth, but it isn't glamorous. It's built, again. I'm not going to say anything out of the ordinary. It's built on small, consistent, and often boring habits, and that's what people don't like. You hear great people, whether it was Kobe Bryant, it was they will tell you the same thing. They wake up very early in the morning, and people tell you from around 3 a.m. to like 9 a.m., your mind is very active, it's very sharp. When you learn, you're able to grasp and learn more at a faster rate, right? So read a little, reflect a little, plan your day. Don't just go through the day, plan your day, right? Take care of your mental and your spiritual health.
Yes.
Show up when it's hard. It's not just you feel good. You don't have to feel good. Show up when it's hard. And when you do these little things, like read a little, take a book, for all you know, the magic you are waiting for is locked up in a book. And for all you know, again, that book might be sitting on your shelf right now, but you
Yeah.
keep passing it by every day, right? So, it's again going back, be intentional. And I'm hoping this will help somebody. Be intentional. I have a bunch of alarms on my phone, but I also tell people this, right? If alarms are the only thing that wake you up, you are not there yet,
Right.
right? Because there has to be a strong hunger and drive that no, from where I'm coming from, I want to grow. I want to be a better version. I want to live a significant life. I want to impact lives. It's not just about buying a nice car, living in a fancy house. No, life is more than that.
Yes.
So your desire, there has to be a strong pull to where you want to be, right? And
Yeah.
so there has to be that zeal that drives you. That hunger should be there. So if you don't have hunger, go and look for hunger. Whatever store they sell hunger, buy some.
So,
Because yeah,
so you said some things that I want to talk about, but I want to go back for a second because you ended with talking about the hunger that we should have and the inner desire that we should have. And I'm going to come back to that. But I want to go to something that you said a little bit prior to that. You talked about if there's something that you don't know, something that you're missing out on, something that you need to know, there's chances are it's a book that you need to read and it's maybe on the shelf already in your house. And I really believe the scripture that talks about, people perishing for a lack of knowledge.
yeah,
And so oftentimes it's getting the right insights, it's knowing the right things. The Bible says that you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. It's not the truth, it's the truth that you know. So it's knowing what you need to know to ensure that you have the insights and the revelations that that you need. God bless you. So my
yeah.
question for you, and I know that for whatever it is, there might be a different book. Is there one or two books that you recommend for our viewers to read that will help them to grow? Because you said earlier, growth is an uncomfortable process. There's nothing fun. It's a little boring. But are there any books that you would recommend, one or two books that you would recommend for viewers to read that would help them with growth?
Absolutely. And I'll start with my books. I'm not being biased, but it is what it is. These are
Yeah.
life-changing books, right? Lessons from nails. Oh, my background is blurry, so it will not show properly. But yeah, lessons from nails. Give me a second, see if there's a
It's
way I
okay. I
can.
think we can share screens. If we,
Okay.
there's a way that we can do this.
Uh-oh. I don't
But
have the front cover, but it's okay. Let's just keep. But
yes,
yeah, my book, Lessons from Nails, great book, life-changing lessons, all of them. And this is the children's version. Again, life-changing lessons. Amazing. The same thing with Parallel Lanes as well. Oh yeah, I see you on my website. Thank you for that.
yes, you're
I
very
appreciate it.
welcome.
And then Parallel Lanes. I don't. Okay, so maybe two more books I would recommend, or maybe three. Mastery by Robert Greene. Great book. Great book. The Secrets to the Millionaire's Mindset. T. Harvey. Um, I think it's T.K. Harvey also. And then I would recommend Atomic Habits, James Clear. I mean, I can go on and on, but these three books will keep you grounded. And I think it will go a long way to help you. Of course, I don't want to go on with the I don't want to say mundane, but you hear it all the time. People say think grow rich
Yeah.
and whatever, the richest man in Babylon. People always name books, and they are all great books. They will go a long way to help you as well. But I think mastery, you will learn a lot about yourself, the human race, where we are coming from, the evolution, and to where we are. And then, of course, James Clear, you can get around it. With this 2% improvement every day, it's amazing who we can become. So um, I would leave it there. But
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for those recommendations. All excellent recommendations.
That's
So
right.
hopefully viewers are taking notes and they were able to take down all of those titles that you mentioned. Now, I want us to go back a little bit because you talked about that inner desire, and I believe that that God gives us the desires of our heart. I believe one, He places them there, and then I believe He fulfills them when they're in a line, like with His purpose, His plan, and what He's designed for us. So oftentimes, though, people will ignore, their inner desire. So, what is your perspective on how we should respond to our inner desires?
Great question. So our inner desires, they are clues, right? See it that way. They are clues. They are signals. They are pointers, right? And they point us towards purpose. Of course, I'm sitting on a chair, so the chair has a purpose, right? I have lamps here; they all have a purpose. I have fans here; they have a purpose. So you also you have a purpose, right? You're not just an idea, just something random that exists out of nowhere. Sorry, I cannot see you. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, okay. It looks like I lost you for a second. Sorry. So again, like I said, our inner desires, they are clues, for us to figure out who we truly are. And we must, again, going back to something I said earlier, we must approach them with self-awareness. But the real questions are, you should ask yourself right now, if you're watching me, what season am I in? These are the type of questions you should be asking yourself. Why do I want this? Right? Like, I want to grow. Yes. I want to become somebody. Yes. I want to become great. But why do I want this? And who benefits, right? Is it just you or the society you know, as well? Desires are rooted, desires that are rooted in ego, they fade quickly. Desires that are rooted in purpose have longevity and impact. So again, you need to pause and examine your motives as well, right? And let your desires mature into something that serves both you and the people around or connected to you. You can have a strong desire, but it may be born out of some selfish ambition. So again, you need to always question the motive, your why. I think it was Simon Sinek who said, "Start with your why." Like, start with the why, right? So yes, you want to be all of that, but why? And also, again, it starts with self-awareness. What season are you in now? Somebody said that life is broken into phases. We have your morning season where you are born, afternoon season where you are blossoming, and then of course evening season where you are at the consolidating phase. You should be focusing more of, living legacy, and then your night season where you are at the airport, you are about to take your flight. So knowing your season is extremely important. There are some things you can do it and do it well at different points in time or different phases of your life,
Yeah.
right? So understanding your season and knowing your season, it all ties to your, it's not just having an inner desire, but also knowing the kind of season you are in and to be able to leverage and maximize on it well. Because let me add this because I think it might help somebody. Yes, I know people have an early start, people have a late start in life, but the middle point or the middle ground for me is at age 30. If you are 30 years and you say you want to be a doctor and nothing shows that you want to be a doctor at that point, something could be wrong because there should be signs, there should be a little, sprinkles here and there of pointing to you that you are going this direction, right? If you want to be a president and at age 30, you are not even friends with anybody at all in the Senate or anything. I mean, it's a gradual process, right? You go from what, maybe mayor to maybe senator to whatever, governor, and then, but what I'm saying is there has to be signs, right? So if the signs are not there, you need to take stock of your life and be serious, right? Because at the age 30, you should begin to manifest. So I would just leave that there. Again, I know people have early start, people have late start, all of that, but on the average at age 30, you should know where you are going in life.
Yes. So you said something about there being signs, and from the offset, you talked about how our inner desire, that we have are often clues to something else. And I want to kind of go back to that a little bit, because I think what sometimes people are doing is they're having an inner desire that they're not acting on. And so because they didn't act on that inner desire, now different points along their journey, they are delayed or they have missed. So where they would have done something that would have prepared them. So let's just use your example of being a president, right? They didn't take the opportunity to write policy, or they didn't take the opportunity for a city council position, or whatever it might be, right? Those inner desires that they didn't act on, now there's some sort of experience, be it something in growth and learning, or something that allows them to meet people who they needed to connect with, or whatever the case may be. Now you have a delay in that. So now other things need to happen so that they can get the development that they need. So I just wanted to go back to that for a moment, because if there are people who are watching who are not taking action on the inner desire, yes, you're right. We need to take inventory. So I would challenge anyone who's watching to think about the things that you've had as a desire that hasn't gone away, that you haven't taken action on, because you might very well need to take some action so that you can, align or realign to what it is that you need to do so that you can fully reach your potential and fully, fulfill purpose. So what are your thoughts on that? And how does mindset impact our ability to be able to move forward when we have these inner desires, or when we have other ideas that come to us?
Got you. It all starts with having a growth mindset. I mean, literally everything you just said sums up. It's kind of embedded in the idea of growth mindset. And growth mindset is just simply believing that who you are today is not your final version, right? It's just the understanding that your skills, your capacity, your creativity can expand. There's room, like we say, the biggest room in this world is the room for improvement, right?
Improvement,
So there's
yes.
room to learn, there's room to stretch, and to try, experiment. If it doesn't work, that's fine. Try again, right? Just keep moving. And no matter your age, right? Irrespective of your age, whether you are 13 years or you are 60 years, your story isn't over, right? So growth comes with also humility, in admitting, hey, I'm not where I really need to be. So you know that, right? I'm not perfect, and that's okay, but I can improve, right? And again, our gifts, our potentials, what we can be, they are not set in stone, right? So our minds are like elastic bands. They stretch as far as we allow them. I was following this research that says, anyway, I don't want to digress, that all these are beginning to dull our what do you call it? Our prowess to think, because it's doing the thinking for you, right? And so this dulling, sort of us massaging our brain and literally maximize on the potential. We are now, sort of substituting with air. But anyway, that's just by the way. Coming back to what I was saying, if you look at even the human innovation, right? We were not born with wings, right? I tell people that human beings don't fly, but we've been able to invent feathers, and today we fly.
Yes.
I'll take that again, and I hope somebody's listening. Human beings don't fly. We walk, we run. That's all we can do. Maybe we crawl. That's where we started from. We started by crawling, we walk, and then we fly. But we've been able to invent feathers, and today we fly. That was born out of growth mindset, because that to me is growth mindset. The fact that we've been able to, invent airplanes and all these jets, and we're able to fly just like birds fly in the sky, that is growth mindset. It's refusing to accept limitation. I'll take that again. You need to refuse. You need to refuse. Hey, I'm coming from this home. This is all we can be. This is all we can amount to. This is the ceiling that we can. No, you need to disregard that. You need to discount that. That no, you cannot be disadvantaged. And it starts with your will. So life today demands reinvention, whether you like it or not. Even biologically, human beings, from studies, we get a new skeleton roughly every 10 years. So
Wow.
technically speaking, you are not the same person 10 years ago due to, I think, bone remodeling and renewal and whatnot. So you are a totally different person from the Dr. April maybe a decade ago. So if your physical body itself is changing, if your skeleton, which is your structure itself, is changing, why shouldn't your mind, like, why should your mindset stay the same way?
Okay.
Right? I think I was having a conversation with you the first time we spoke, and then I said that, let's break. I try to break things down so that anybody can understand that growth
Yes.
mindset. If I'm to give practical, you can start small, right? But then think about it this way: um, if you are a good cook, right? If you can cook for one person, then perhaps just think that maybe you can cook for 5 people, right? If you can cook for 5 people to then, don't you think you can cook for 10 people? It's just not stopping there. That's not your end point.
Right.
Right? And if you can cook for 10 people, what makes you think you cannot cook for 100 people? What makes you think that you cannot cook for 1,000 people? You
Right.
know, Look at what people are doing in our world today. The Elon Musk's of our time. Crazy inventions, right? So why stop at that? If you can make $100, sure, you can make $1,000, right? If you can teach one person, and people love it. They love to hear you speak. They love to hear you teach. Maybe you are a teacher. Maybe you can teach at a conference.
Right.
So you need to overcome fear. And is that fixed mindset, sorry, that says that this is all I am, right? But then a growth mindset breaks limiting labels.
Yes.
It breaks limiting beliefs, and especially in the communities that some of us we find ourselves, it's almost like you've been told to aim small, but no, there's a whole world out there, and it takes a
Absolutely.
growth mindset. It takes rewiring our brains, the way we think, and just the key is to rewrite our narrative. And again, it
Right.
starts by having a growth mindset. Let
Yes.
me actually add this before I wrap up on that. In
Okay.
this book, it's a teens book, right? I wrote Power Lanes. I have a page. Let me make sure I can grab it. A page just dedicated for fixed mindset and for growth mindset. So for people who have fixed mindset, these are the characteristics, like their qualities. It's always like they're full of criticisms, they're full of insecurities, they're full of comparisons, they are always being defensive. And they have this inhibited growth. And people who have growth mindset, they like to collaborate, right? They seek feedback. They are very innovating, they admit error. I have it, here. It's like two different mindsets. So if you have a growth mindset, you know that you like collaboration, you like feedback because it helps you to grow, right? Even Jesus loved feedback. So why would you
Yes.
love feedback? Jesus said, "What do men say?" Or is it, "Who do
Who do
men say
men
that I
say I
am?"
am? Yeah.
Exactly. Who do men say that I am? So that was in a way, in his own way, trying to get or solicit feedback from the people, and they were like, "Oh, you are this, you are that," and they said, "No, you got it right." Because I'm trying to see or determine what people are saying and if they are right and they are thinking about me or not.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
again, if you want to grow, one thing I will leave you with if you're watching is seek feedback. Constantly seek feedback. It will help you grow.
Yes. You said a lot of things that are wonderful that I feel like we need to unpack a little bit, but I know our time is winding down. But one of the things that you said is about how the mind expands and
That's right.
ensuring that, we don't put any limitations.
That's
The
right.
biggest proponent of whether or not someone will achieve or not achieve something is how they think, their mindset. And if there's something that we want to achieve and if we want to get beyond where we are, we have to shift our paradigm. We have to expand our paradigm. We have to
Mm-hmm.
grow the way that we're thinking. So we
Mm-hmm.
have to see ourselves appropriately. So I just really want to really reiterate that because I appreciate you sharing it. I think it's very insightful. And I do appreciate you sharing the comparison of the growth mindset and sharing from your book. I love it. It's excellent.
Absolutely.
So I want us to get into getting into more about your books, because I know you shared a little bit before about the books that you've published, but I want us to talk about specifically the value to the reader. So I know you have several different books, and I'm going to share your website again. So if you can just share insight on each of your books and what the value is that the reader can gain from reading those books.
Thank you so much for that opportunity. My first book is Lessons from Nails. It's a life, I call it Life Hacks and Leadership Guide. It's just practical wisdom to help people, see everyday life through, like I said, growth mindset, like a growth lens. It's a life-changing book. I think I shared some few cues in there as well. I have a saying that if life is a movie, make sure yours isn't just nice, but it's a must see. I'll take that again. If life is a movie, make sure yours isn't just nice, but it's a must see. And those are the things you'll be learning here. Amazing lessons. Like I said, I was just thinking about life, my time on earth thus far. And then my eyes, I just happened to chance on my nails. And like initially, it didn't make any sense. I'm like, nails, what is there to learn about nails? But then every idea grows. The more you think about it, the more it expands. Like I said, it's like an elastic. So it hit me first. I mean, the first thing that hit me was don't give up. I'm like, could it be that nature instinctively is telling us never to give up? Because 99% of the human race, if you cut your fingernails, unless you have a medical ailment or something, they would grow back, right? And that hit me. I'm like, okay, so there is some sort of resilience that is built in us, every one of us, not to give up. Because you cut your nails, they will grow back. You cut your nails, they will grow back. Right? Everything about you, even your hair, you cut your hair, they will grow back, right?
Yeah.
Unless you are bald. And please pardon me for that. But you get a point. It's not just not giving up, it's not giving up on different things, not giving up on your dreams, not giving up on your gifts, not giving up on your family. Sometimes things happen in different families, not giving up on different things. It's just not giving up, right? And then I mentioned when the nails are growing, they don't grow overnight. It takes time. It's a gradual process, right? And so it's like we said, garbage in, garbage out. Life will throw so many things at you. So it's up to you. You have to be intentional in cleaning or filtering what goes into this mind because you're a genius. But if you don't filter what goes in here, again, like I said, garbage in, garbage out. And so Mahatma Gandhi said something that I will not allow you to walk into my mind with your dirty feet, right? So it goes on and on. Amazing lessons on leadership. You will learn. Somebody was, how can you learn leadership from your nails? Get this book, you would understand so many valuable things here. I will come to the children's one. I'm just want to short here. It's also a smart tool, right? You use it sometimes to pick things up. There is interdependence. Again, you will see all of this in the book. There is the growth mindset that I said. There's the guard your mind. There is interdependence. There is power lanes in there. So again, it goes on and on. The same thing with the kids book. Amazing. Just from the cover page alone, you can see all the 7 continents there. All the 7 continents are represented. And so each race or each continent can relate to the content of this book about being flexible, adding color to your life. And, amazing. I have some daycares that have already incorporated it into their schools. I have one school actually that they've added it to their social, emotional learning. I think that's what they call it. They call it. Again, amazing stuff. And then the Power Lanes is the teens version. It's the same thing, lessons from your nails. So you take your fingernails, right? You have 10 nails, and each of them, I have like different, like I call them with a different name. So we have the wisdom lane, we have the envy lane, we have the growth lane, we have different lane, we have the mind your own business, mind your business lane, So I sort of parallel your 10 fingernails with 10 different lanes. And these are choices or life choices you need to make. There are some that will lead you to a dead end. And so obviously you don't need to take those paths or those routes. We have the education lane. Um, you know, I hope, I don't know, I'm not sure if readers can see this. And then right from the beginning, you have this picture of a child, like a boy, a teenage guy with a father with a 10 fingernails and with different paths drawn out, going to different places. Some will lead you to crime, some will lead you to your destiny, some will lead you to different things.
Thank you.
One, you are able to apply something immediately, that the next generation is inspired to make wise choices, which is extremely important. And then you are also encouraged to tell your own story, because the world needs to, hear your so strong that has to come out. And so for anybody seeking direction, like a direction setting book, Parallel Lanes is for you. I would definitely recommend Parallel Lanes, especially for teenagers, because you are in that middle ground where you are not there yet and you are not a kid, right? So you need guidance, you need coaching to help you, to groom you, and lead you to where you ought to be. So it will shape your values, it will shape your choices, it will shape your character, and of course, make sure you make the right choices, or you make the right choice in life. So that's just something little that I would say about the 3 books. I have 5 books that I'm working on, but I will save that for another time. That's
Okay,
for
that
next
sounds
year.
great.
I have something for the disabled. I don't like using the word disabled because they are able people. They might be physically challenged in some way, but I feel like we need to really push that agenda and make banks more accessible, makes more, like fitness, sports, churches everywhere, that accessibility, technology, everything, we need to make way. Because other than that, we are not going to maximize the potentials of our society if we are only focusing on people who we think are able.
Yes. Thank you so much, Charles, for sharing that. The prelude for one of the 5 books that you're currently working on. And thank you so much for sharing so much insight on the value to the reader, on lessons from nails, both for children and for adults, and on parallel lanes. Now, I do want to say for anyone who's watching, Charles doesn't know that I'm going to do this, but, if you're thinking about what kind of gift can I give someone for their birthday or for Christmas, or for, maybe I have a niece or a child or someone who's graduating from, preschool or secondary school, well, not secondary, but preschool or middle school or something, then consider the books to, buy as a gift. Consider getting a bundle. We have, the things that are coming up in terms of the Christmas holiday, but we also have, year round, people have birthdays, they have anniversaries, you have so many different things. And these are all excellent books for growth and for development and to expand, the mindset. So I encourage you to do that. You can purchase these on Amazon, on the LionsMatrix website, or on Barnes and Noble. So those are the places that you can purchase these books. Now, I want to also, I know we talked about LionsMatrix and we were just on the website. If you have viewers who are watching, they know that they need to start taking some actions. They want to learn more about the services that LionsMatrix provides. Where would they start? What would be the first thing that they would need to do?
So more like the services we offer. We have leadership and workshops. Again, experiential sections that provokes or that will provoke action and build leaders and help people grow in any economic or cultural environment. So I will start from the leadership development workshops. We are big on business and consulting as well, and I'm talking about strategic advisory work. That will go a long way. It doesn't matter. We offer different, like, all sorts of perspectives, but it's all rooted in one thing: to help you grow, right, and to provide solutions I'm big on thought leadership, that will help organizations and again, even governments. It doesn't matter. We are always willing and ready to open our arms to anybody who wants to engage or, have any sort of interaction with that. So leadership development and workshops, just life itself, like you said, I'm known as the meaning maker. If you're seeking clarity, career clarity sections, business consulting. Of course, we also offer author coaching and creative development. I have access to illustrators, book designers, editors, so I can help new authors. So if you have a dream of becoming an author, I can help you navigate that path, that journey as well, and hopefully publish a best-selling book. Whether it's, I have a toddler book that is coming up. I have, of course, children's book. I have teens book. I have adults book. So by God's grace, we've been able to cover all age brackets, and I will be able to share that wealth of knowledge and experience with you. One thing I want to leave with your audience, I'm very huge on youth empowerment and just youth mentorship. So if anybody wants to consult, again, I think you have my email. You can share that as well. And then, of course, because we are in the business motivation space, we provide a lot of personal development services. We'll help you your relationship, business idea refinement, if you're starting a startup, how to scale. And I'm also a faith person as well. So when it comes to ministry, I can also help you or guide you in ministry leadership development and just ministry growth and all of that. Sermon writing, mentorship, and all of that. So all in all, if you're looking for clarity, for growth, for transformation, I'm here to help you the best way I can.
That's excellent. Well, I tell you, Charles, this has been phenomenal. I want to thank you for being a guest
Thank
on
you.
Purpose today. This has been such a joy. I feel like we could keep talking, but in the interest of time,
We
I'm
can
not
go
going
on and on. I know
to.
I've enjoyed it myself.
Right. So I know that there may be some, people who are watching the live stream who have questions. If we didn't get to all the questions in the chat, please feel free to reach out to Charles directly. I have all of his information there on the screen. And thank you again, Charles. Just before we go, is there anything else that you would like to add? Anything that you want to leave viewers with before we close out today?
Wow, we've said a lot in such a short amount of time. But hopefully, I've been able to add value to somebody. I would just say that watch out for the new materials that are coming in the new year. And remember, growth is intentional. If you can jump all you want, you will come back. You will come back down. And that doesn't mean growth, right? But if you want to grow, then you need to take stock and, like you said, inventory of your life and start from there. I will leave your audience, your beautiful, cherished audience, with this: that the person you are becoming is far more important than who you have been. I said that to say that the best of you is yet to come. Your best is not buried in your past. The best version of yourself is always ahead of you. So keep moving. No matter what life throws at you, keep moving. And again, know that your mind is a powerful womb, but you need to nurture it with wisdom, nurture it with the right seeds so that you can become God has destined for you. So that's all I would say. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I don't take it lightly. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and thank you again. And you're going to go backstage. We're going to talk again here briefly, but I want to thank all of the guests again for watching on today. Again, if you want to contact Mr. Boateng, then his information is available on the screen. You can send him an email. You can connect with him on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or via email. So it's been such a treat to have this engaging conversation on growth and on purpose and strategies for meaningful self-growth. Thank you so much for watching this episode. For all of the guests who are watching, stay tuned for another power-packed episode of Purpose Today. If you are someone who needs to pivot professionally and you're not quite sure where to start, send an email to admin@purposetoday.com or register for an upcoming masterclass hosted by yours truly, Dr. April Dobson of Purpose Today Global. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make it a wonderful, purpose-filled weekend.